can you imagine a drastic drop in that? 1 out of every 3 things that you eat depends upon the pollination, and primarily by honeybees. You've got countries now where the honeybees have been eradicated. Now China especially, they're having to do it by hand. So honeybees are a very, very, very important part of our life. And as I said, this is going to be for primarily new beekeepers, prospective new beekeepers, and those of you who have not been keeping bees very long. I want to direct it or break it up into basically 3 segments. First of all, I want to talk to you about things that you have to have. Now, a lot of people say, well, I want to start keeping bees, and they might order a package of bees, and the bees come in and they're not even prepared for it. And in that subject too, in this area, we're having a big, big problem with our post offices. You know that they're consolidating, they're doing away with. On TV, I believe it was yesterday, a postman employee said, you know, what would normally take 1 day, we're paying for first-class service, we're getting third-class service. It might take 3 days to get it across the street if you put it in the mail. We order these packages, unless we get it from somebody like John or Mike, we can get them from. But if we order them from Kelly or some other place, they have to be shipped in. So that would be a very, very crucial thing on receiving our bees. In other words, instead of getting it this day, it may be 2 days later. The more those bees sit there, the more of them are going to die. So this could be a problem, and it could mean that we start looking to closer local services as far as our packaged bees. Now, years and years ago, I started out with ordering packaged bees. Since then, I've not ordered any packaged bees at all. I bring mine simply by separating or catching swarms. So, and then to me, that's the best way. You get a swarm of bees, they're ready to go. You don't have to worry about this or that and the other, but that's a person's own personal preference. But let's talk about what you should have. When you order your packaged bees, and it's probably January, February that you can get them in late March or early April, you should have already had them ordered. But there's some things that you must do. First of all, you've got to have your hives ready. Many times we say, well, we're going to order them and you can get them ready. Well, that's too late. You should have your hives ready and then order your bees. Now, this is some of the things that you must have. First of all, you need 2 bee hive bodies. Now, you're only going to use one of them, but you need 2, and I'll explain that a little bit later why you need 2 of these. You got to have a bottom bowl. You got to have a top cover, and you should have an inner cover. Now, I know some people use the inner cover as a preference. I personally like it, and I'll tell you why. And I'll tell you why that you, as a new beekeeper, need it. There's a very, very important reason for that. You need to have your frames ready. Now, frames, unless you order them already assembled, you will have to put them together, and you'll have to use foundation. Now, I use the wax foundation I order from Kelly. Some people use the plastic foundation. I know Mike uses that's wax coated. You can also get the plastic foundation. You have a slit here, and you just drop it in. It goes right down. There's no need in cross-wiring it or anything like that. Now, here you notice I've used bobby pins. I'm not going to be extracting honey from this, so I don't need to cross-wire it. All I need to be kept is straight, just straight up and down. So I use that. So you've got to have your frames, and you've got to have a foundation to put in. You need, if at all possible, to have some drawn foundation. Now, what drawn foundation? This is foundation. This is drawn foundation. Now, I'll tell you why you need at least, if you can get it even from your mentor, or if you can buy it from someone, at least 2 frames of drawn foundation. Very, very important. When you get just a flat foundation and you throw those bees in there, they can't lay eggs or do anything on this. They've got to first draw it out. But here, if you've got some drawn foundation, they can start to work on that immediately. The queen can start laying. They can start putting some pollen in it. So this is immediate usage. I always try to keep at least 5 or 6 frames of drawn foundation. When I catch a swarm of bees, I want to have at least 2 drawn frames ready to go. That way it helps the bees. They don't have to do nearly as much work and they can get going much quicker. You need a sugar water dispenser. Now, as you see, this one's been used quite a bit. The sugar water dispenser, it used to be you could just sprinkle it on it, or you could take a cloth and rub on the foundation. Now, what I do, I'll take this and in a light mist, I'll completely coat both sides. Then I will take the drawn foundation and do the same thing. Now, water will catch in this. The sugar water will catch in this. They will eat that when you put them in. Now, this is from the package bees or from the swarm, each one. We'll talk just a minute about that. You need a suit. A suit like this right here. Now, everybody's been talking about getting stung. If you are a beekeeper, one of the first questions they ask me, do you ever get stung? If you fool with bees, you're going to get stung. And you better be ready for it. One of the things, and I don't sell it, I don't have any stock in it, it's at 911. That is an antihistamine. If you get stung, spray it on it, rub it in, or if you, especially on your face. Now, I don't normally, it doesn't bother me anywhere except on my face. Now, if I get stung on the face, my eyes swell together, and it hurts. But if you'll take that antihistamine or 911 and rub it on it, the swelling won't be nearly as bad. Your suit, you're going to need a smoker. The smoker is probably the most important thing as a new beekeeper that you'll ever need. Smoke has a tendency to calm the bees down. They say it confuses them. Also, if you smoke, as Diane says, smoke your jacket like this right here, it kills the odor. You don't have as much odor being dispensed from your bag. So that will also help. The smoker. You'll need a hive tube. When you go into a hive, you're going to need this. These bees are energetic little boogers. They're going to seal these things just as tight as a drum. You can't get them up without a hive tube. This is what you use to pry them up. Also, when you put the inner cover, which I'll show you in just a minute, they will glue the inner cover down. So you have to break the inner cover loose. Anywhere there is a crack or a crevice, those bees are going to seal it up. So as a new beekeeper, you need one of these. As a new beekeeper, when you get ready to put your bees in, you need a readily available supply of water. Now, bees have to have water to drink. Now, we have a swimming pool at home, and people who have pools, they say, well, the bees just drive us crazy, they keep coming to the water. I train my bees. You might say, well, how do you go and train a bee? Before I open the pool up, I put out 2 water baths, or bird baths, and I keep them full of water. Those bees get used to going to those bird baths, and then when I open the swimming pool up, we're never bothered with bees. Occasionally you might find 1 or 2 in it, but it's rare. They're always going to those bird baths, and they just keep it covered up. You got to keep fresh water in it. And I'm not talking about old stinky water that, you know, when it gets 99 degrees out there, it starts to mold, or you get fungus in it. Keep it clean water. The bees will be trained to go to them. You will not have any problems anywhere else. You need a feeder. Now, everybody talks about a feeder. They used to make a feeder that would fit in front of the hive, right here. I do not use that anymore because many times that will create a robbing problem. Now, you've got this weak hive here, and you've got two strong hives over here, or you've got some feral, wild bees out here. They're going to sense when you start feeding them that sugar water. And these strong bees are going to come and take over these weak bees, and they're going to kill them. They're going to go in and get all the sugar water they can get, all the collected honey that they can get, nectar. So I do not use this front boardman, I think is the name of the feeder, anymore. I'll use this and I'll show you just a minute how I do it. You'll need something to kind of help close up the entrance. Now, the reason this is, you want to keep a lot of these extra barn bees out of the hive. Now, some people use grass, straw, what have you. I use a brick. Just put a brick on it. And what that does, that draws it in. And these guard bees here have a lot better opportunity to keep those barn bees out of the hive. And it's cheaper. My wife says I am a very cheap person. And those of you who are in the club know some of the things that I come up with. I'm not too extravagant as far as spending money on bees. It's expensive enough as it is. People ask me, how can I make money on keeping bees? I said, yes, you can. Stay out of it. That's the way you can make money on keeping bees. There is no money in bees unless you're in a big, big way. Mike is in a big, big way back there. Carl hadn't showed up yet, I don't see. He's in a big way. But they sell, that's their living. They sell the honey. Larry sells honey. But his wife says he don't make any money on it. But anyway, it's where you can make some additional money. When you get through reporting it to the federal tax people, that's very debatable. But these are some things that you, as new beekeepers, must, not should, but must have. If you want to get in it, get these items. Another thing that you must have is a mentor. Now, what a mentor is somebody that's been in the bee business for a while and supposed to know what they're doing. They can help you in so many different ways. When I started into the bee business, there was nobody but me. And I didn't really know what I was doing other than I wanted to keep some bees. So I got some, I didn't really get them. I went to Mississippi. That was back when there was not so many rules and regulations. And I bought a hive, brought it back to Jackson, kept it for a while, and I said, well, why can't I just separate this? So I accidentally separated it and it worked. And I say it was an accident because I didn't know what I was doing there either. I just took half the bees out, put them in another hive, and they survived. But now, another thing that you've got to do as a new beekeeper, decide where you're going to put them. Now, don't wait till the bees get there. Don't wait even though you've got your hives ready. You need to know where you're going to keep them. Well, and I said, well, why is that important? If you set your hive here and you leave it there for 2 to 3 weeks and you say, well, I think I want to move it over there. Well, you know what? You take the hive up at night and you move it over here and you set it up. Guess where those bees are going when they come out the next day? They're not going to come back to where you got it. They're going to go back to where it was. And they're going to look and say,